How old is too old to start an IUL? Is an IUL more expensive if you're older? No. You can't believe how many agents do not even understand this. If you structure it correctly and fund it properly, it gets cheaper as you get older. And you can take out an IUL policy up to age 80. And if you're unhealthy, you just squeeze down the death benefit under TEFRA and DEFRA guidelines. You'll get the same rate of return. You can earn, like we have, an average of 11 and net 10 because the cost of insurance is less the older you are and the more unhealthy you are because the amount of insurance required goes down. So I can earn 11 and net 10 if I'm a 20-year-old athletic marathon running female. But if I'm 60, I can get the same rate of return. If I'm 78 or 80, I can also earn 11 and net 10 because the costs are the same as a 20-year-old because the amount of insurance required is far less. So here we go. You're going to be blown away as I explain this. So I'm Doug Andrew. I've been a financial strategist and retirement planning specialist now for 5 decades, helping thousands of Americans optimize assets, minimize taxes, and prepare for long-term goals such as retirement using what? My favorite financial vehicle, without question, is a properly structured max-funded IUL because it knocks the socks off of putting the same amount of money into traditional IRAs or 401ks in the market or whatever, okay? So then people start going, okay, because they think insurance costs more the older you are. Well, the cost per thousand of insurance goes up as you get older, but the amount of thousands of insurance required goes down under TEFRA and DEFRA if you're using insurance for living benefits. So get ready. I'm going to show you why. So when people say, how old is too old? Insurance companies, if you're insured, if you can fog a mirror, well, it's not that simple, but if you can pass a physical exam, and even if you've had a heart attack in the past, or you've had issues or diabetes, don't rule yourself out. You may be rated, but it doesn't matter. If you're rated, the IRS lets you squeeze down the death benefit even more so that you can earn 11 and net 10, just like a healthy 22-year-old athletic marathon running female. Okay. So watch how this works. Isn't IUL more expensive if you're older? No. The amount of insurance required goes down, so the cost of insurance is the same. Whether you're 20, 60, or 80, based upon the amount of insurance required. And that is what makes it so powerful, okay? So let's make sure we all are on the same page. Most people take out IUL for living benefits. They don't care about the death benefit. So I'm going to take the least amount of death benefit I can get away with and put in the most money the IRS allows as fast as they allow. And the reason why this is a superior capital accumulation tool for long-term goals such as retirement is because you are able to eliminate the biggest dangers that cause most people to outlive their money, like retirement, taxes, inflation, market volatility. That's what causes most retirees to outlive their money if they have their money in traditional IRAs or 401ks in the market. We eliminate those. We make you immune from those by using IUL because IUL is tax-free. It doesn't matter what taxes go to. You're tax-free. You're immune. If you understand indexing and how to link your returns to the things that inflate, I don't like inflation any more than you do, but it doesn't hurt me. If inflation goes to 5, I earn 10. If it goes to 10, I usually earn 15. If it goes to 15, I earn 20 because you link your returns to the things that inflate, okay? I've always outpaced inflation. 3 is indexing, where I get to participate when the market goes up, but not lose when the market goes down. And so my money is not in the market. So I'm protected. The 3 greatest strengths of properly structured IUL is liquidity, the ability to access my money when I need it, tax-free. Safety of principal, so that whenever I set aside, $100,000 a year or $500,000 into an IUL, I don't want to lose what I put in there. But I also don't want to lose money I make each year. In the year I make money, that becomes newly protected principal under IUL lock in and reset. I lock in my gains and I reset. So I don't lose in future years money I made in previous years. You wouldn't believe how many advisors don't know how to do that one. And then third, to earn a predictable rate of return, not pie in the sky. Yeah. If you rebalance and you diversify, you'll see episodes on this channel that show you why our clients increase their rate of return by coming in for annual reviews by rebalancing, and it goes from an average of maybe 8% up to 11 to 14%. But if you earn 11, you'll net 10. The cost of insurance only is 1% no matter how old you are, because you're taking the least amount of insurance and making sure you adjust it. But there are years that our clients seize opportunities and they get credited 25%, 61%, 158%. That offsets the years where they don't make anything, but they don't lose the zero. So very conservatively speaking, our clients average 7 to 10% net. But to earn 10% net, they're probably earning 11 in actuality, and 1% is going towards the cost of the insurance that has to be there or it won't be tax-free. But I'd rather earn 11 and net 10 than have to earn 15% in the market in an IRA or 401k and then pay tax of a third to net 10, because to earn 15% is too risky. Okay, so let's make sure you understand the reason why IUL is so magic, it's the dream solution, is because under these three sections of the code, for over a century now, money inside of an insurance policy, when you die, it blossoms, increases in value, and transfers income tax-free. But we don't care about that so much as 72E and 7702. 72E means the money that grows inside your insurance policy is tax-free, okay? And I'm earning rates of return of 10%, tax-free. 7702 says how you access that money so that every $1 million of cash value can generate a 10% payout, $100,000 a year of tax-free income without depleting principal if you live to be 120, okay? In an IRA or 401k, you'd have to pull out $150,000 to net $100,000, and your $1 million nest egg will be gone in 11 years, okay? So in order to comply, you have to adhere to 3 tax citations: the 1982 TEFRA Act, Tax Equity Fiscal Responsibility Act, and the 1984 Deficit Reduction Act. These dictate the minimum amount of insurance required based upon your age, your gender, and your health. But TEFRA and DEFRA, as you're going to see, gives parity. Most agents don't understand what I'm talking about. That means equality, which means it doesn't matter if you're a 20-year-old or if you're 60 or if you're 80. TEFRA and DEFRA says if your objective is tax-free accumulation at the highest net internal rate of return to earn 11 and net 10, let's say, that the amount of insurance required is less every year you are older. And if you're unhealthy, you've had diabetes, or you've had some angioplasties or whatever, you can even get away with less insurance so that you can earn 11 and net 10. The cost of insurance is only 1% of your gross rate of return, just like a 20-year-old. The cost of insurance is the same because the amount of insurance is less. Does that make sense? Okay. So that's TEFRA and DEFRA. I'll come back to this. And then TAMRA, the Technical and Miscellaneous Revenue Act of 1988, talks about how fast you can fund it to grandfather yourself to have tax-free income. So we compare this metaphorically to a bucket. So under TEFRA, DEFRA, and TAMRA, you want to fill up your IUL policy as fast as the IRS allows and take the minimum amount of death benefit required. So let's use an example of a 60-year-old male that wants to put in $500,000. Now, they want to make sure they get the best rate of return on $500,000. They don't care about how much life insurance is required. You could buy a whole bunch of life insurance for that. They want the minimum. The minimum is $1 million. Now, if I was 20, the minimum might be $5 million because of TEFRA and DEFRA. I don't care. I want the minimum. The minimum is $1 million. Whole life might require $1.5 million. It requires more, and so it's more expensive. Now, here's the deal. If I have $1 million, I want the cost, which is like the spigot on this bucket, the cost of that insurance to go down. I want it to get cheaper as I get older. So I make sure the 500,000 that I put in there becomes part of the million if I die, which means if I'm complying with TAMRA and I put in 100 grand the first year and I die, they're going to pay out $1 million, not $1,100,000. I could opt for that, but I don't care about maximizing what I leave behind. I'm planning on living, okay? Now, if I fill it up in 4 years and 1 day, and I have my 500,000 in there, the net amount at risk is only the remaining 500,000 because now 500,000 of the million is my own money. So the insurance company is only charging me, the spigot is only draining out the cost for half as much insurance 4 years down the road. I'm only being charged for half as much insurance. The insurance is getting cheaper because the net amount at risk is half. This $500,000, if it doubles in 7.5 years like it normally does, to $1 million, now my cash has grown to equal the death benefit. What's the cost of the insurance? Basically nothing. Now, under TEFRA and DEFRA, if I happen to die, the insurance company will pay out 5% more, $1,050,000. But the cost of $50,000 of risk is minuscule compared to the interest I am earning on my million. I am self-insuring. When that million doubles in another 7.5 years to 2 million, if I die, they'll pay out 2.1 million. They're only charging me for 100,000 of risk. The interest I'm earning on $2 million dwarfs the cost of 100,000. The cost is 1/20th what it was 17 years earlier when I started it. It got cheaper as I got older. Does that make some sense? Okay. Now, here's coming back to TEFRA and DEFRA. When people say, well, doesn't it get more expensive as you get older? Most insurance companies will insure people up to age 80. I've had people who took out IUL at age 81, but we simply backdated the policy to age 80. Yeah, they had to pay the premium for the year they didn't die, but it was still the best choice. So before I go any further, if you're under age 80 or even age 81, you can backdate. And if you can pass a physical exam to the satisfaction of the insurance company, even if you're rated. So let me give you an example. Back in the 1970s, a friend of our family came to me. He was 78. He had 3 blocked arteries. He cleaned up with angioplasty. He had adult onset diabetes. He was controlling it with diet and exercise, and he had a prostate cancer episode, but his PSA levels were good enough. He had 6 sisters, all predeceasing, 3 brothers, all predeceasing. Now, we shopped several insurance companies, and we found one that said, you know what? He's never used tobacco or alcohol. We're going to rate him table D. You may not know what that means. It's 100%. He has to pay 100% more on the spigot on that bucket for the insurance. No problem. He's 78. They're going to charge him twice as much for the insurance. TEFRA and DEFRA simply said, you can just squeeze down the death benefit. So let's say, he put in 500,000. Maybe the death benefit, if he was healthy at age 78, would have been $1 million. We didn't need $1 million. We squeezed it down to 700,000. Okay. He doesn't care about the death benefit. If he puts in 500,000 and he dies, they pay out 700. That's not bad. He did it. Why? He wanted his 500,000 to be able to pull out 50 grand a year tax free, which he did instantly. He did it for the living benefit. Here we go. TEFRA and DEFRA gives parity. It doesn't matter the age. He was age 78, had a life expectancy of an 83-year-old. His gender or his health. He was rated table D. He was insurable. The cost of the insurance required under TEFRA and DEFRA will be the same percentage. He can earn 11 and net 10 just like a 20-year-old because the IUL we structured properly by squeezing down the death benefit, and we max funded it because the amount of insurance was less for him because he was rated. Even though he was older and unhealthy and not in optimal health, He put in 500 grand and started earning 10% immediately and pulling out 50 grand a year tax-free. Hello? Now, so far so good? Let's go into one other. Let's say you're totally uninsurable. You get turned down. What do you do? Folks, there are 5 parties to an insurance contract. The insured, the person who has life insurance on them. The owner of the policy, which is normally the insured. The beneficiary, that's your spouse or your kids or your church or charity, whatever. That's who's going to get the death benefit when you die. The premium payor, the one paying the premiums into it, which is usually the insured and the owner. And then you have the insurer, which is the insurance company, the one who's on the hook if you die. Here's the key. The owner of the insurance policy, the owner is the party that gets all of the tax-free growth on the money paid into it. The owner can be the premium payor. The owner gets all the tax-free growth, and every million can generate $100,000 a year of tax-free income for the owner. The owner doesn't have to be the insured. You can own an IUL policy on a surrogate, on somebody else. I have owned policies on my wife, on my kids. My kids own it on me. I've owned policies on my parents and on my in-laws. The owner gets all the tax-free growth and tax-free income. You can own policies on other people. This is why banks have BOLI, bank-owned life insurance. They own life insurance on their board of directors, on their stockholders. They get all the tax-free growth. They don't care about the death benefit. They just want their money back if they die, and then anything above that, they can go to the family's beneficiaries. That's why we have COLI, C-O-L-I, corporate-owned life insurance, because of what it does. So it's the owner, the corporation, the bank. You can own a policy on somebody else if you're uninsurable. But if you're insurable, even if you're rated, it doesn't matter how old you are. Don't sit there and say, well, I'm 78. Yeah, I'm insurable, but I'm rated. But I'm going to take it out on my wife or my son or daughter because they're only, they're only 55. And that's going to be cheaper. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. The cost of insurance for your son or daughter at age 55 is the same for you at age 78 because the amount of insurance at age 78 is less than the 55-year-old. And your son or daughter, yeah, if it's structured for them, can earn 11 and net 10. But you can earn 11 and net 10 at age 78 with health issues. Hopefully, you gain insights here. So, folks, if you want to learn more, you can study my book. My most recent bestseller is The Laser Fund, 300 pages, charts, graphs, explanations, 62 actual client stories. You can go to laserfund.com, contribute a nominal amount towards the shipping and handling. I'll cover the rest of that and I'll pay for the book and fire out a hard copy to you. There's also other learning methods if you like to listen and learn or watch and learn. But here's what I would recommend next. If this is resonating with you and you go, oh my heck, I've got to hear this a different angle. I've got to understand more. I would strongly recommend that you watch this episode next, and you'll gain some additional insights into how powerful this is and how you can use IUL no matter how old you are, and you can own it on somebody else.